if you are creating content or you are in a healing business, you have known and seen that moment when things get quiet and it can be uncomfortably quiet. And there's almost just no getting around it. Just sometimes things are slow. Sometimes clients stop reaching out or the comments slow down and the momentum feels less obvious. And that external evidence just kind of like dries up. That happens a lot at the beginning, and it happens again and again in a certain pattern as you progress your way, as the years go by and you reach success. So I feel like this ends up being a pattern in and of itself, where you're looking outside of yourself to see evidence that it's working. And so whenever it's not working, your trust disappears. Your trust disappears when there's no feedback or nothing to respond to. And that might be even more so for, it'd be interesting to have a conversation around. But for me, I'm thinking of manifesting generators and generators. I'm a generator. And also my G is undefined. And that's something I've been talking about a lot in the group, because what you're seeing here in the group is me pouring my heart into a community, and that fills my cup back up. But that's my own human design. I have a 4 line in my profile line. So it makes sense for me that I'm here to build a community. And when it goes, I'm like, oh, this feels amazing. But with that undefined G and being a generator, I'm meant to respond. So if there's a weekend where there's not as many comments, or even somebody isn't booking as often as I would hope, or whatever it is, there's always this moment where we come back to this pattern. As far as with that undefined G, it's really, who am I and what is this if I don't have something to orient myself to? And then again, as a generator, it's, what do I talk about if I have nothing to respond to? And I think that I could see that easily coming in for a projector waiting for the invitation too. Just kind of like twiddling your thumbs, or even just being like uncertain what the direction is. And with especially that undefined G, it's like that certainty is the one thing you're kind of counting on and searching for. But I said it once and I'll say it again. We want to relax before the certainty, because that's how we receive the certainty. We're not going to relax after we're certain, because we have that backwards at that point. It's easy to trust things whenever they're working, and it's easy to trust whenever people are responding to you. But I think that the story we tell ourselves, we make it personal, and these aren't things that are personal. It's a situation that we've walked into and we have put ourselves into as far as business goes. But the stories, they feel something along, like I said, you're making it personal, you're making it about you, and you're probably jumping back into a pattern of, I'm doing something wrong. I missed something. This isn't working. We're like making it more than what it is. I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I should change directions, or maybe I don't have the right audience. I hear that one a lot too. But like I'm saying, with especially in human design, that clarity, it's not going to come through that sheer will or force. That's going to bring a lot of disappointment. And then just coming back to this idea of staying relaxed, which helps us stay still, which helps us stay present long enough to hear ourselves and let the answers come in. A lot of us are falling into that fight response in our nervous system, and it's something that we're used to working within, but that doesn't mean that it's correct for us. That chase can feel like, when you stop or relax, like the story's over or the ball is dropped. For me, like I said, I've definitely felt seasons that were much more quiet, and then you're in business, you're just left there feeling, is this it? But especially online, I think we can, as long as we're not uncovering what we planted, we can really start to trust ourselves and trust in the fact that people are watching, people are integrating. It's crazy how many times I'll get a random message from somebody who's totally ready because they've been seeing and watching what I'm doing. And that's really what your content is meant to do, is here's the world you stepped into, here's what we do here, here's how you can go deeper if you want. But so the silence is oftentimes just going to actually be people watching and getting to know you. And that will absolutely compound. But honestly, just a reminder that quiet, it's not a failure, and it may not even be a problem. It just might be that the quiet is simply just quiet. And sometimes there's a stillness and a quiet before you reach that next level. It's being pulled back in a slingshot and then whipped forward. So consider that things can be growing even before they're visible. And let's go ahead and jump into the EFT around all of this. If you haven't done this before, you can just repeat after me and tap where I'm tapping. If you can't do that right now, save this for later and you can come back to it. So we're going to start at the karate chop. And we can take a deep breath in. And we stop. Sorry, I said it again. We start by mapping out what the feeling is. And so you can feel free to add on to this. If this resonates with you and something jumps in, you can add on to it also. The silence feels uncomfortable. When it's silent in my business, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. Nobody's responding and nothing seems to be happening. And it's hard to know what that means, what it means for me and my business and my fear of being a failure. It's hard to know if that means I'm going in the right place. But even though it feels like that, even though that all bubbles up when there's silence or when it's quiet in my business, I still deeply honor, love, forgive, and respect myself. And I'll move to the top of the head. I worry that it's not working. I'm worried that I'm wasting my time. What if people aren't actually interested in what I'm doing or what I offer, what I talk about? What if I should be doing more? The quiet feels uncomfortable, and my mind immediately starts filling in the blanks. Maybe nobody's interested. Under the arm, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe it's not working. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe I should be doing more. Maybe I should change something. I'm not sure what it is yet. I've told myself a lot of stories about what the quiet means. But have I ever been wrong before? Have there been times I thought nothing was happening and later discovered something was growing? Somebody messaged me out of the blue. Somebody got back to me after months of us talking. And maybe there's been times where people were quietly paying attention and it just felt like it was quiet. And maybe there's even been times I can remember where the opportunities, they arrive later. I meet with someone and talk, and a few months later they come back and they tell me they're ready. And maybe there's been times when growth was happening, it was just beneath the surface. And it's possible that I've underestimated what's happening before, which means it's possible that maybe I'm underestimating what's happening now. Of course, this feels vulnerable. Of course, I want reassurance. Of course, I want proof. Of course, I want to know I'm safe. I don't need immediate evidence. I don't need constant reassurance. I can stay connected to myself. I can stay present. And I choose to trust myself here also. I can trust myself even in the quiet. I can trust myself even when it doesn't feel safe. I can trust myself even when I don't know the path forward. And so I trust. And so I am. And so it is. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a moment. Notice if anything feels different. If you did this with me, let me know in the comments. If anything softened, or if it still feels uncertain, or maybe there's still questions, that's okay too. So this isn't going to be built when everything is obvious. It's built in moments like this. This is your capacity stretching. And in these moments where we choose to stay connected to ourselves, even when we don't have all the answers and we can't see in front of us, that's exactly what I've been using EFT for in my own practice and in my own business, bringing me back to that sense of self and that sense of calm and that sense of knowing that this is working out for me. Be gentle with yourself. You can do this again if you prefer or like it. But either way, we will talk soon.